I wrote my very first novel as a series of letters between two poor cousins. I have never stopped thinking about the man at the center of it. He loved a woman the way I believe most people are actually capable of loving, quietly, completely, almost entirely, without hope of being loved back the same way. His name was Makar Devushkin. He was an aging government clerk, mocked by his co-workers, dressed in a coat so worn that people laughed at him openly in the street. He copied documents for a wage that barely covered his rent. Across a small courtyard, in a room nearly as bare as his own, lived a young woman named Varvara, an orphan with almost nothing, whom he had quietly appointed himself to protect. He never asked her to love him. I want you to sit with that for a moment, because it is the detail that makes this story different from every ordinary tale of unrequited affection. He did not court her the way a man courts a woman he intends to marry. He simply began giving her things he could not afford. He sent her sweets when he had no money for his own dinner. He sent her flowers when his own coat was falling apart at the seams. When she needed medicine, he found it. When she needed comfort, he wrote pages of it, letters filled with a tenderness so careful it feels almost unbearable to read now. I knew, even as I wrote them, that this tenderness was never going to be enough to keep her. Varvara was not simply an orphan waiting to be rescued. She was a young woman living inside a society that had already decided, long before she had any say, that her worth was measured by what kind of marriage she could secure. Devushkin, for all his devotion, had almost nothing to offer her in the terms that society actually recognized. No status, no money, no future beyond another decade of copying other men's words for a salary that would never grow. He loved her with everything he had, and everything he had was simply not the kind of thing the world was prepared to count as valuable. This is the quiet tragedy I wanted to explore. It is not really about Devushkin's poverty. It is about what poverty does to love when love has to compete with survival. Varvara cared for him too, in her own way. She wrote back. She worried about his health, his debts, his dignity. There is real affection between them in every letter, and for a long stretch of the story, you can almost believe that affection alone might be enough to build something lasting. But then, a wealthy widower named Baikov re-enters her life, a man from her past who holds the kind of security Devushkin could never provide. And Varvara, after everything, chooses him, not out of cruelty, not because she stopped caring about the old man across the courtyard who had given her nearly everything he owned. She chooses him because she is exhausted, because security is not a luxury when you have spent your whole life without it, because she has learned that affection does not pay for food or shelter or a life without the constant fear of falling further. I did not write her as a villain, and I do not want you to read her as one. I wrote her as someone making the only rational choice available to a person who has been taught by every circumstance of her life that love without security is a story and not a plan. This is where Devushkin's letters change, and it is the part of the book I find hardest to reread, because his response to losing her is not rage. It is not even real bitterness. It is something quieter, and I think far more devastating. He keeps writing to her even as she prepares to leave with Bykov. He keeps offering what small comfort he can. He keeps worrying over her well-being, keeps loving her in the only way he knows how, even though he now understands with total clarity that this love was never going to be enough to keep her near him. There is a particular kind of grief in loving someone fully and watching them choose safety over you, and it is different from the grief of being betrayed or wronged. Devushkin was not wronged. He simply discovered, the way so many people eventually discover, that being loved is not the same as being chosen, and that a person can hold real affection for you and still walk toward whatever offers them the fewest reasons to be afraid. I think about how often this same pattern repeats outside the pages of any novel. Someone offers everything they have, not because they expect it back in equal measure, but because giving is simply the shape their love takes, and they watch the person they love move toward whatever feels safer, more stable, more certain, even when that safer option comes with less warmth. The mistake most people make watching this happen is assuming the person who left simply did not love enough. The more honest explanation is usually that they loved enough to be honest with themselves about what they actually needed, and what they needed was not devotion alone. It was the ground beneath the devotion. Security is not the opposite of love. It is very often the thing that makes love survivable, and a person who has never had security will not always be able to choose the beautiful uncertainty of pure affection over the plain, unglamorous comfort of knowing they will not go hungry. Devushkin's final letters are not full of accusation. They are full of a strange, wounded grace, an acceptance that he could not have been what she needed, that his love, however sincere, was simply the wrong currency for the life she had to build. This, I think, is the truest and hardest thing the story has to offer. Most of us want to believe that real love is always enough, that if we give fully and honestly, the person we love will stay simply because the love was real. But love, however real, does not exist outside of circumstance. It exists inside a life, a set of pressures, a history of scarcity or safety that shapes what a person is actually able to choose. Devushkin gave Varvara everything he had, and everything he had was simply not the thing she needed most in that moment of her life. This does not mean his love was wasted. It does not mean it was foolish. It means that love and rescue are not always the same offer, and a person can be deeply loved and still walk away toward whatever finally lets them stop being afraid. I want you to think about the people in your own life who have loved you the way Devushkin loved Varvara, quietly, without much fanfare, offering what they had even when it was not much. Ask yourself whether you have ever mistaken the size of someone's bank account or the certainty of their future for the depth of what they were actually capable of feeling for you. And ask the harder question too, the one Devushkin never got to ask out loud, whether love that cannot offer safety is still worth receiving, and whether the people who choose security over devotion are betraying something or simply doing the only thing a person who has known real scarcity can be expected to do. I do not think there is a clean answer. I only know that Devushkin kept writing until the very last letter, still hoping, still offering, still loving a woman who was already gone. And that, more than any grand tragedy, is the quiet and common shape that heartbreak actually takes in most ordinary lives. Not a dramatic betrayal, just a slow recognition that you were never quite enough of the thing the world had taught the person you loved to need most.